What is our final topic today, Ashley?
All right, guys. The last one up is from Rain Man from Singapore. John, apparently Disney relented. It is rehiring James Gunn to direct Guardians 3, according to The Hollywood Reporter. I knew how you felt about Alan Horn's abrupt decision to fire Gunn after the offensive tweets, which he made a decade ago. What do you think are the reasons that caused Alan Horn to retract his initial decision? Fan pressure, or perhaps Kevin Feige has a play in all of this? I can't imagine how Alan Horn must have felt. Your thoughts?
Well, I can tell. Well, how Alan Horn must have felt. Alan Horn's the one who made the decision. So nobody made this decision over Alan Horn's head. You have to understand, Alan Horn does report to Bob Iger. Bob Iger is the supreme high lord and emperor of all things Disney. But Bob Iger also coaxed Alan Horn out of retirement. I mean, to come and run the movie division, all movie divisions, everything that happens at Disney, movie-wise, whether it's Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, whatever, that's all Alan Horn. And you bet your ass Bob Iger leaves Alan Horn alone. Like, if whatever Alan Horn wants to do, he'll back Alan Horn's place. He'll make the bigger overall strategic decisions for Disney as it pertains to how it goes brand wide. But Bob Iger brought in Alan Horn for a reason. And look, for all the crap that I've given Alan Horn over his handling of this James Gunn situation, which he did botch, for all the crap I've given him, there's no doubt he's probably the best film executive in the business. And with all the credit that we give Kevin Feige, rightfully so, Kevin Feige's only been able to do what he's been able to do because of the overall direction setting and the support of Alan Horn. Without Alan Horn, the MCU doesn't exist the way we know it today. The lion's share of the credit goes to Kevin Feige, but without the guy over him, a lot of this doesn't happen. So full credit and big kudos to Alan Horn, absolutely, but he botched the handling of the James Gunn situation. So Friday afternoon, we find out that the reports broke and they've been confirmed. James Gunn, you guys have all heard this by now, James Gunn is coming back. He's going to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3 on his own script that he had already written. And he's still going to do Suicide Squad 2, and he's going to do Suicide Squad 2 first. And then they'll commence production on Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after he's done with Suicide Squad. I've said this weekend on a couple of shows that, yeah, I'm excited that James Gunn's coming back for Guardians 3. What I am more excited about is now we've got one director working on a DC movie and a Marvel movie concurrently. I think that's amazing. I think that's exciting. I can't wait to see what James Gunn does with the Suicide Squad. I can't wait to see what he does with Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So that's all fantastic. What, though, was the thing that got them all back to the table and got them all talking again? Well, I think there was a couple of things. Number one, Rob, I think Alan Horn's knee-jerk, botched decision to just so quickly up and fire James Gunn and then communicated what I strongly contend was a lie in his explanation as to why. This whole charade they put on is like, oh, we never knew James Gunn tweeted edgy stuff before. Ooh, we're just finding out. Bull. That's all bull. That was 100% bull. You know that Disney vets the people they're going to have in high profile positions, stuff like that. And these were publicly available tweets. These weren't buried with Steve the Pirate's treasure on a beach somewhere. These are out, public, available. They knew. Now, Rob, I've contended this whole time what Alan Horn should have done, even if he wanted to go ahead and part ways with James Gunn, which I would have understood, not agreed with, but understood. If Alan Horn, and I've said this before, his statement should have been, we here at Disney love working with James Gunn and appreciate all that he's done for us here. And we were aware of some of his colorful mistakes he's made in the past as far as posting, jokes on social media that were in poor taste and offensive to many people. In discussing the situation with Gunn, we also want to be sensitive to our loyal Disney fans. So in agreement with and a discussion with James Gunn, we've decided to part ways over future films from now, and we wish James the best, blah, blah, blah. Had they put out a statement like that, I, once again, would have disagreed with the decision, but I would have understood the decision. And instead, what did Alan Horn do? Oh, he said, what? Oh, we are separating, in his words, we're severing all business ties with James Gunn. Severing business ties with James Gunn. Oh, we're so offended, blah, blah, blah. And put on this charade and whatever. I think a couple of things took Alan Horn by surprise. number one was the backlash from the fans. I think that surprised him a bit. Disney is not governed by how the fans react, but I think they were surprised by the backlash from the fans. But they had already made their, decree. We're firing him. Done. It's gone. He's gone. And then that backlash came. I also think he underestimated the backlash from the cast. Dave Bautista basically dragged Disney over the coals for months, attacking Disney, criticizing Disney, and basically getting on his hands and knees and begging Disney to fire him. Like, I don't want to make your movies anymore, Disney. Fire me. Fire me. I don't want to work with you anymore. And that puts Disney in a no-win situation. If we fire him, we look stupid. If we don't fire him and he's still on the movie talking crap about us, we look stupid. So they put themselves, and then the entire Guardians of the Galaxy cast put out this public letter that they all signed, including Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, all of them signed this open letter that they put out to the public saying, bring back James Gunn. But Alan Horn, because of his knee-jerk reaction, had painted himself into a corner, and they couldn't do it. So what was it that brought them all back to the table? I think those things were lingering in Alan Horn's mind. The public backlash from the firing, the backlash from the cast. But I believe it started to get very real when they started to hear from other directors, and they approached other directors and started hearing, we're not going to try to step into James Gunn's shoes. Now, the official report is saying Disney didn't approach any other directors. I know, I can't say how, and I'm not the only one who knows this. There's other bloggers and YouTubers who know this too. We can't say how, but I can tell you for a fact, I know that's not true. I know Disney did talk to now it's never got to the point that it was in final negotiations or anything, but I can tell you for a fact that Disney did approach some other directors and they got turned down. And I think that might have been the last thing. So then when Alan Horn is seeing all that, and then the other key part here, I think, Robert, is as Alan Horn then looked back at how James Gunn conducted himself through this, which was perfect. When they first fired James Gunn could have been very angry. He could have gotten on social media and said, screw you, Horn. Guess what? Everybody else is lining up to hire me. I'm going to go make some movies. They're going to bury your movies. He could have done that. But what did James Gunn do? He got on social media and said, hey guys, this is on me. I apologize for my past things. I decided to stop being that person a long time ago, making jokes like that. I've changed. I think the people who work with me today know that that's not me. But I respect and I apologize to Disney for the situation I put them in, and I respect everybody involved, and I'm going to just try to become a better person, right? That's how he handled it. And how James Gunn handled that situation, I thought was perfect. So I think all these things, the fan response was unexpected. The cast response was unexpected. Other directors' responses were unexpected. And the way James Gunn so classily handled himself, it opened up an opportunity, I think, for Alan Horn and Disney to go, you know what? Not only do we have an opportunity here to bring James back, but man, people are going to be happy if we do. All the positive buzz and the press cycle we're going to get on this if we bring him back is going to be outstanding. And I'm sure him and, as the report said, Alan Horn and James Gunn sat down. They met together a couple of times. I guarantee you it wasn't just James Gunn having to continuously apologize to Alan Horn. I guarantee you Alan Horn had to put out some apologies too for how he handled this whole situation. Because at one point, Rob, you remember this, I said, if I'm James Gunn, I don't come back to Disney the way they handled it and the way they got rid of him and threw him under the bus like that. But apparently they sat down, they hashed it out, they feel good about it, and now we've got one director directing a DC movie and a Marvel movie concurrently, and I think this is the best kind of situation we could have hoped for. Anyway, Rob, I've gone on about that far too long, but what do you see are maybe some of the key elements here that brought them back to the table together? What do you think led to this becoming worked out and solved? And what do you think about him coming back in the first place at all? Because you and I never had a chance to talk about this on Friday.
Well, after my Sunday morning squash game with Bob Iger, he and I go to Jeffrey's in Malibu, and I like to have a little lobster with some nice warm butter,
Of course.
and a good salad. And I asked Bob, I said, what happened here? And he basically said some of the things that you said. He said, look, James Gunn acted like a consummate professional, but as Bob pointed out to Alan Horn, he said, Alan, if you kind of look at the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and if you look at Avengers Infinity War and now Endgame, James is a producer on Infinity War, and his characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy, are a big part of our franchise now. And if you just take the two Guardians movies and you take Infinity War, let's not even talk about Endgame. James is pretty responsible for $3.5 billion going into our coffers. And he just basically, if you guys don't live in LA, literally Disney is right up the street from Warner Brothers. And our boy James Gunn, who did nothing but well by us, has gone up the street now and is taking over a franchise for our distinguished competition. See what I did there? And do you want Warner Brothers? Do you want Walter Hamada to make $3.5 billion off our boy? Bob might have said something along those lines to me that he whispered in Alan's ear. And of course, cooler heads prevailed. And James Gunn is now back in the fold where I think he really belongs. The one thing, I love James to death, but Suicide Squad, while he might make it his own, Guardians of the Galaxy really is James Gunn. Marvel offered him opportunity. They took him away from making movies like Slither and Super, and they really gave him an opportunity to make these films and flourish in the Disney environment. And if there's nothing else between the relationship with Jon Favreau that Disney has, the relationship with the Russo brothers Disney has, the relationship now with James Gunn that Disney has, Disney wants to forge long-term relationships with great filmmakers that deliver and make sure that they create the entertainment that Disney as a company and as a brand wants to make. And losing James Gunn was a huge blow to those plans. And James Gunn felt, I think, a loyalty to Disney at the time, and they didn't want to send that message. That was not the message that as a company they wanted to send. And I'm sure Alan Horn was being asked that question either by shareholders or by people who are involved in the business of doing this. The lawyers are like, James Gunn's still a producer on Infinity War. I mean, we're still paying the guy. And why are we letting him go to Warner Brothers?
And they had to pay him a $10 million separation fee from his contract.
Yeah, and
James is going cha-ching all day. He got paid an extra $10 million for them breaking the contract. Then he signed a huge lucrative deal with Warner Brothers, and now he gets to sign a new lucrative deal with Disney. James is laughing all the way to the bank.
Mr. Iger is a very, very good squash player. Just want to say
I imagine that. And the bottom line is this is Alan Horn's decision. And Bob Iger is going to back, just like Bob Iger backed Horn's decision when he decided to fire him, Iger was going to back Alan Horn's decision to bring him back. And I think there was probably a lot of discussion, a lot of talk. Honestly, I don't think Kevin Feige had much to do with this.
No.
And I'm sure Horn, after the fact, probably talked to Kevin Feige, said, hey, Kevin, would you like him back? Yes! Yes, I want him back. You're supposed to be helping me shepherd the whole galactic aspect of MCU. Yes, I want him back. Oh, okay, I'll take that as a maybe. So yeah, he probably got Kevin Feige's thoughts, but yeah, make no mistake about it. Kevin Feige works for Alan Horn.
He also told me he wanted to find out what was going to happen with Adam Warlock.
Yes, which we're never going to find out until James Gunn comes back. So,
right.
Well, I'd say, hey, guys, listen, what do you guys think about this whole James Gunn thing? Of course, we did a standalone video on this on Friday. You guys had a lot of thoughts. Have your thoughts changed or evolved? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.